Hello, today we are going to use Google Drawings to create interactive worksheets or drag and drop activities for your students. The goal is that you're able to get your students interacting with you on the Google Classroom in a collaborative environment using one of the G Suite's most undervalued and my favorite tools, Google Drawings. So we are going to start by opening up a blank Google Drawing as you see below, or on my screen, and we're going to name it. So we'll just name it an interactive activity for the sake of this. First thing I always do with all of my drawings is I change the page setup. I always want my drawings to be, especially if they're going to students, to be the size of a regular sheet of paper. So if they were to go to print this, or if I were to go to print this, it would look very nice. So I'm going to make that my landscape style here. Next thing I always do, just because I don't love seeing the transparent background, I'm going to right click and add just a custom white background so it looks like a blank sheet of paper to me. So when I was in the classroom, I was 6th grade earth science teacher, and one of my favorite units that I taught was tectonic plates, and especially plate boundaries. One of the biggest reasons is because there is a guy named Mr. Comerford on YouTube who has this amazing plate boundary rap song that we would play as a class, and the students would dance, we would sing, and it would just be so fun and always would get stuck in their head. So today we're going to practice those plate boundary movements from this rap just as a refresher. So I'm going to put the link down here below just so if students want to see it to reference while we're going through this, they can. So essentially in the rap, I'll sing a little bit of it for you so you guys know my intentions with this activity. So it goes, convergent collide, divergent divide, transform, tectonic plate slide. And it just says that over and over for the chorus, and we have cute little dance moves, and it gets stuck in their head. They think it's so cheesy. I build it up how it's like Billboard's top 100 hits, and even if they hate it in class, during test day or while we're practicing, they are all 100% singing this song. So that's what we're going to go for with this activity, that making a connection with them in the online environment, they'll remember the activity that we did in class, and hopefully enjoy this activity. So I'm going to make a table. So I'm going to insert a table, and on my table I'm going to ask them to insert the different movements of convergent, divergent, and transform plates as well as a picture. So there's 3 plate boundaries. Here's my description. Here's my picture. So I'm going to insert this table. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Fill most of my screen because that is all they are doing with this assignment. Just a nice, easy, simple drag and drop to reinforce this concept. Always with my tables, I like to change the color to black. These lines be black so it's nice and sleek. And I like to change the border width so it looks a little more clean, a little sleeker, in my opinion. And then the title doesn't need to be as big, so I'm going to make that smaller. Make my table a little bigger, and then center that like so. All right, so on here, I'm going to insert my 3 different tectonic plate boundaries. Then I'm going to highlight them all, and I'm going to change my font. I'm really enjoying this font lately. Change my size and center them. Awesome. One thing I forgot that I need to add, I'm going to make a title because no good worksheets or no good activity is complete without a title. And correct spelling. Correct spelling is important too. All right, change that, change my size, and then center it. Boom, we are very close to done, kind of. All right, next I'm going to create the components that I want my students dragging and dropping. So first I want them to do convergent collide, divergent divide, and transform tectonic plate slide. So I'm going to create a text box, and I'm going to create these by inserting them into the answer key, what I'm going to want the students to complete, what I want their product to look like, and then I'll move it so you know how to set it up for your students. So collide, and then I'm going to change the background of this text box to be red. I'm going to add a border because I love me some borders. Change my font, center it like so, boom. All right, next text box I'm gonna do for divergent divide. Gonna change my color to, nope, not green, it's not Christmas time. Blue, nope, not blue, let's try this blue, cool. I'm going to change my border size to 12 again. Going to change my font, change my size, and center. And in a perfect world, if we had more time, I would make sure these boxes looked exactly the same, just for some consistency, and they were the same size. But for the sake of this, you guys don't have to watch me do that. We're just gonna make these as we go. And transform tectonic plates slide. So change my font, change my color, change my border size, and change my font size. Awesome. So I have my first little components that they're going to drag complete. So next I'm going to build the shapes or the diagrams. So I'm going to start with this shape right here, just a little square. And I'm going to make it white and make my border a little bit bigger because you guys know by now that I absolutely love that. And then I'm going to add another shape, and those are my arrows. So convergent tectonic plates collide. So the arrows are going to point together. And a really important step, especially with these arrows, are they are going to be moving either from the side of the page to these different boxes, and we want them all to move together. We don't want the box to move, one arrow to move. So I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to select all three of these things. So they're all three selected. I'm going to go to Arrange. Not Range. Yep, I'm going to go to, oh, hold on, because I didn't do it right. Select. I'm going to go to Group, and I'm going to make all of these three things one. So now if I move them, they all move together. So now I'm going to copy this to save a little work for myself. Divergent divide. So I'm just going to take my arrows again and shift them this way. Oops. They divide or move away from one another. And then just to be super extra cautious, they're all three selected, as you see here. I'm going to go to Arrange again just to make sure they are grouped, which says ungrouped. So yes, I know they're grouped. Good, that these will all move together. And again, if I had more time, or if I was doing this, not for a video with you guys watching me, I would spend a little bit more time just making these look a little bit nicer, a little bit more straight, but for the sake of right now, it is okay. So transform tectonic plates slide. So slide past one another. All right, and that's as straight as it's gonna get for right now, but that's okay. So confirm that it's grouped again, awesome. I mean, let me show you what it would look like if it was not grouped. So if it was not grouped, if it was ungrouped, when I went to move this, they would not all move together. So you see, there goes my box, my arrows are not together. So I do not want that. That is chaos waiting to happen. So I want to group them so they all move together. Awesome. So this is what the final product would look like. This could be your answer key for what you want your students to create. Really simple activity, but also reinforces those concepts we learned in this little plate boundary wrap, gets them going, but I don't want to give them the answer key, so I'm going to spread these out. So I'm just going to move them all about the page, spread them out, put this one over here, put this one over here, all about the page so it looks like this. So this is what they're going to see when they open it. So now I'm going to download it to my Google Classroom or add it. So I'm on week 3. I'm going to create an assignment. I'll label it plate boundary. And I'll say, please complete this drag and drop activity. Then I'm going to go add from my Google Drive. Should be in my most recent since I just created it. Here's my interactive activity. And then it says students can view file. I don't want them to view. I want it to make a copy for each student so they get this blank template. Notice on mine, it shows the answer key right here that it looks like it's already completed. I'm going to show you guys the student side as well so you know that's not what it looks like. So I'm going to add this to my week 3, except it looks like my picture's in the way. My week 3. I'm not going to assign a due date right now because you guys can, well, I'll assign a due date. Let's see, I want it due on Monday the 20th. Sure, why not? Assign. And as it's assigning, there it is on my week 3, ready to go for my students. So if I go in as a student now, I'll refresh my page. I always have my students go to the classwork tab. Week 3, here it is, plate boundaries. I'm going to open it. And this is my made copy that the teacher did for me. So I'm going to click it open. And notice that they're all where I left them. So even though my copy on my classroom as a teacher shows it completed, this one for students does not. And then the students can go in and move them where they belong to complete the activity. So I love this feature on using Google Drawings. Google Drawings is super helpful for me. Hopefully this video helped you come up with a few ideas on how you can use Google Drawings to create drag and drop activities for your students.